PowerPoint slides over because I can't anymore. Okay, Liz, you are on.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for that, Anne Marie. Anne Marie, I see that I have presenter rights, but I do not. I only have the upward. Oh, let's see. There it goes. I guess there's a little delay in El Paso. No, it won't go any further than this. Is it attached to a separate PowerPoint, Anne Marie, or are they connected?
Actually, go up to the top where there's the arrow up at the top. There you go.
Thank you. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. We have lots to share, and I believe I'm one ahead. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get anyone dizzy. So on our agenda today, we have lots of stuff going on. So we're going to share about upcoming dates and locations for our literacy symposiums. We also are going to share from our TCAL team members about the dates and topics of upcoming live webinars. There will also be multiple announcements about upcoming training opportunities, including the Peak Performance 1, which includes assessment, the Going Standards 2.0 Trainer of Trainers event, and a new Leadership Excellence Academy cohort. Krista will cover a slide with a reminder about the fast approaching deadline for PD plans. And finally, we will cover a handful of PD portal announcements. We've got a lot to share with y'all today, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start off with Krista.
Hi. I couldn't find my mute button. All right. I can't believe we're already talking about 2020, but there was a couple of dates that we needed to change because of possible conflicts. So for the next 6 months for our webinar schedule for PD coordinators, we're going to have our January 9th. And then February 6th, because that's a week early because of the Taylor conference. And then March 5th, which is a week early because of spring break. And then back to the second Thursday for the rest of April, May, and June. So just make note of those, that February 6th and March 5th date that has changed from our normal second Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And now we have Paula.
Thank you, Liz. Howdy, everyone. This is Paula Bauer. I'd like to share with you some dates for our upcoming literacy symposiums. These symposiums are sponsored by Literacy Texas, and they're free of charge for all participants. Now, the target audience is primarily community-based organizations and the volunteer nonprofit AEL programs. However, everyone is welcome to attend free of charge, and it's a great way to have funded AEL providers take advantage of some PD sessions near them and earn some PD credit for free. We've had the DFW Literacy Symposium back in October, but we have some coming up. We have the one in Edinburgh, the South Texas Literacy Symposium, February 22nd. It's on a Saturday. And then we'll follow up the next weekend in Longview on February 29th for the East Texas Literacy Symposium. Then in April, we'll have the Gulf Coast in Pearland on April 18th, also a Saturday. And then South Plains Literacy Symposium will be in Lubbock on April 24th, which is a Friday. They're still working on the West Texas Literacy Symposium, so I haven't heard a date for that one. But in February, you'll be able to register for the Literacy Texas 2020 conference. That will be August 16th through 19th, 2020, and it will be at the Hilton Waco Convention Center. So save those dates and come join us. Thank you, Liz.
Oh my gosh, we're actually talking about August 2020. Wow, thank you, Paula, for that. And so now we do have some announcements, and these are from Olga. Olga couldn't join us today, so I'm going to go ahead and let you know about our 2020 annual Taylor Conference. Please save the date. This year's annual conference will be held in Irving, Texas, February 13th through the 15th. There will be also some pre-conference sessions that are offered on Wednesday, February the 12th. There is more information available on the Taylor website. The pre-conference sessions, there are two strands right now. One is the Career Pathways Navigator pre-conference session. That is from 9 to 4. Lunch is on your own. And then they are asking participants, those who will be attending that session, if you could please participate in the SurveyMonkey. We're going to add the link in the chat box shortly so that you'll be able to contribute to what you want that learning experience to be like for you. And then for those of you attending the AEL business meeting, then of course you need to sign up for that pre-conference session. Which is also on the 12th, and yes, you will also have lunch, so no worries about that. Any questions about the teleconference, please let us know. The other thing we want to let you know is about Texas AEL Manager Mondays. Our next Manager Monday is scheduled for January the 13th. This will be on Brain Waste to Brain Gain Part 2. We had lots of great response this past week on our Manager Monday that featured Anson Green. And so the following month, we're going to have Angela Johnson and Denise Aran, along with Anson, talking about how they assist foreign degree professionals and what that service delivery looks like. So please join us. It's going to be jam-packed full of information about how to do college integration and employer engagement when you're trying to help and serve this population. And if you want to mark your calendars, and because things book up really quickly, so please go ahead and jot down these dates so that you could mark it in your calendar. We also want to hear from you. What kind of ideas do you have? Do you have any suggestions on topics that have not been featured yet but would like to know more about them? Send me an email. Let me know what's on your mind, and we can go ahead and explore that topic. So we look forward to seeing you online. Another announcement is on Workforce Wednesdays. These are from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. on Central Standard Time. Our next one is scheduled for January the 22nd, and this one is titled Helping Students Succeed at Work. This will be focusing on workplace skills that students need to pursue their career. They're going to cover workplace skills and factors that lead to success in the workplace. So please register in the PD portal. You can go ahead and register today. And then if you want to hear about any future sessions, just go into the PD portal and search in the events calendar. So these are the dates, and this is scheduled all the way through December. So you can't say we didn't tell you first. Here are all the dates that are available in the PD portal. And now we're headed to Anne Marie.
Hi everybody again. We actually are going to move our scheduled December Tech and Tell to January because of the date. It was actually going to be scheduled for this coming Friday, but we thought so close to the holiday break we would move it to January. And the title this January is going to be Big Bird Has Grown Up. PBS Learning Media. And for those of you that may be familiar with PBS, I know we do think of PBS as being more for child programming and just educational programming. But believe it or not, they have a wonderful website called PBS Learning Media, and it's actually just gone through another update. And they've done a lot of work with digital citizenship lesson activities. So great if you are working with the teachers on integrating Standards 2.0, and lots of resources for a variety of literacy levels, and it's not just for kids. It's very much adult appropriate. So I'll be digging in there, showing you some of my favorites, showing you what I think is really applicable, and hopefully saving you some time so you don't have to go on a scavenger hunt trying to look around this very cool website. Okay, Liz, back to you.
Thank you so much. And so now we're going to go ahead and go back to Krista. Krista?
Muting is such a wonderful thing. Okay, we have had 2 excellent Teacher Tuesdays already. And we have our 3rd one scheduled on January 14th, 2020. And this topic is going to be about the Census 2020. And it will be led by Cynthia Peters from World Ed. It is not quite in the portal yet, but we will get it in there as soon as possible. Also, remember that we welcome your ideas for topics for Teacher Tuesday, and there's a link that Anne-Marie can put in the chat pod. So if you want to suggest a topic, please use this link and let us know what your ideas are for Teacher Tuesday. And definitely put on your calendar for January 14th. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Krista. And so now we're going to go ahead and I believe we have some questions. So please let us know what are some burning questions that are going through your mind. Let them post them in the chat pod. Let us know. We have a team of resources available and willing and ready to assist. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. But as we wait for you to type, so don't worry. Go ahead and just type your questions, and we'll go ahead and tend to those as soon as we can. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn over the mic to Beth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Just a note that we are doing a second cohort of the Leadership Excellence Academy. We have a strand for administrators and a strand for instructional leads. So if you're looking to grow some of your staff in leadership roles, I would encourage you to have them apply. Our deadline is tomorrow, so if you've got somebody who's been on the fence about whether or not they want to apply, please encourage them. I'm really excited about the content for this next year. We've been doing, last 6 weeks, just been doing a lot of planning and repackaging what we've done this first year, and so I'm really excited. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, shoot me an email, call me. Happy to answer any questions you might have or connect you with somebody who went through the Leadership Excellence Academy last year so you can get some feedback from them. So please, I encourage people to apply. And thanks, Liz. Back to you.
Thank you. And now we have Anne-Marie.
Okay, thank you again, Liz. I just want to just quickly remind the PD coordinators that there was a training of trainers that took place in in November for the new, for an updated and revised training materials for Standards 2.0, and there is a overall 6 hours of literacy PD available, but it's broken down into a session 1 and a session 2. And session 1 is really an introduction to the standards, and I've already gotten questions. So, you know, go ahead and reach out to your PD specialist if you're wondering about which session you should request, because session 1 is really for teachers that have not had a lot of experience with the new Standards 2.0, the new book, not the green book. And if they're already using Standards 2.0, session 1 may not be what you need. And then session 2 is really the deeper dive into contextualizing lessons to Standards 2.0. And there's an opportunity to really work with them, work with some lesson plans, develop some lesson plans, and also use a rubric that aligns with the employability skills framework. So the descriptions in the PD portal are very descriptive. So, but if you have questions, reach out to me or reach out to your PD specialist, and we'll be happy to go over them with you so you're requesting what your teachers need. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And now we have Laura.
Hi, everyone. It's Laura Greer here. So I just wanted to toss out a quick reminder about informational webinars in the PD portal. So within the past couple of months, we've started hosting informational webinars through the PD portal. So typically these were done outside of the portal in the past. I'm talking about things like the CASAS Test Administrator webinar or TABE 1112 informational sessions, that sort of stuff. So it's stuff that does not count for PD credit. The real beauty of doing these in the PD portal at this point is that participants can register through the events calendar and launch it from their transcript, so it follows the same exact process as any other live webinar that they would register for and attend. This really makes it easier for our participants, but on the back end, it makes it easier for us here at TCAL to keep track of attendance and participation for these webinars, just kind of for historical purposes. So we had one recently, and it accidentally slipped through the cracks. Attendance wasn't marked quite correctly, and so participants did end up with a certificate, which is what prompted me to put this slide in this week. So I wanted to mention a couple of things. So yes, after a webinar happens, an informational webinar happens, we do mark attendance just like we would with any other, well, similar to how we would with any other webinar. But the way that we do it actually takes that session off of the active part of their transcript and moves it to the archived section of the transcript, not to the completed section. And part of this is because there is no certificate of completion that is awarded for these webinars. In the event that an error is made when we're processing the attendance, and again, this happened a couple weeks ago, and we're all human, mistakes happen, but participants do end up with a certificate. I wanted to point out on the screen here, you'll notice that this certificate in the middle there, and I should have circled this, I apologize, but in the middle it says with blank hours for successful participation. And then if you look way down at the bottom, it's kind of small, it says this course may count toward the blank PD requirement. So those are just kind of indicators. If it is an informational webinar, those sections are going to be left blank. And also, informational webinars are not going to be entered into Teams because, again, they're not for PD credit. So in general, informational webinars are now being put through the PD portal just because it's easier kind of for all parties involved. But they're not for PD credit. It will say it in the webinar description. The host will say it at the beginning. There shouldn't be a certificate of completion, but in the event a mistake is made, just be aware that if the hours and PD requirement section, PD category section are left blank, that's probably a good indicator that it is it was an informational webinar. So I just wanted to pass that information along, and if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to email us at pdportal@tamu.edu, and we'll help get things sorted out. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. And now we have Tracy sharing some news.
Good afternoon. And a segue from Laura about entering information into Teams. I entered all of the TWC conference sessions into Teams. We had seemed like a lot of participation at the conference last week, a lot of adult ed folks there. So you as PD coordinators don't need to turn in any of the conference sessions to be entered into Teams for that conference. And it's under the TWC conference. So you'll notice on the screenshot there on the left, TWC. So look for the conference sessions there. And as always, if you see anything that's not there or needs to be corrected, please let me know. And just a reminder, I know we talk about this a lot, but if you've got staff going to other conferences that aren't supported by TWC or Train PD or TALE, you do need to complete those conference sessions to be entered into Teams documents, the Excel spreadsheet, and send them in to your PD specialist, who will then route them to myself or Beth. So in keynote sessions, like for TWC conference, for example, they're not PD credit because they're just not. They're usually not related to adult ed. They've got to have key objectives, and so typically at a conference, a keynote's not going to be allowable for credit. Okay, so next slide. I think that's me. Yes, it is. So I need your help here. If you have CASAS trainers in your program, I think we reached a lot of the CASAS trainers back in October 1st and 7th. There was a webinar for trainers, not for every user, but just for the trainers, because CASAS developed a new registration process that must and needs to be completed by each trainer. And so PD coordinators, if you could help, if you have any CASAS trainers on your staff, and if you're not sure, I'm happy to pull the names for your program and send them to you. And we're trying to do some cross-checking to see who saw the webinars and who hasn't, because this process is a little bit complicated. The webinar walks through the steps that someone needs to complete, but at the goal is a CASAS trainer must contact CASAS about a week in advance, alerting them that they're going to have a training, and they're given a code, a special code for that training. And I get emails, I'm blind copied. Robin Booth and I are on any emails that go back and forth between a CASAS trainer and CASAS. So we are starting to see them come through, and I appreciate the trainers that are following this step-by-step process. It does require at the end of a training that everyone who's in the training, learning to be an administrator, goes online and completes an evaluation. So that entails having computers available to do that the participants have a login to CASAS. So it's just important that the trainers view this webinar and follow the step-by-step procedures. I've posted the webinar in the community of practice for trainers. So CASAS trainers are in that group, and if anyone has any questions, just have them contact myself or Robin Booth about that. But if you could help us with that, if you do have any CASAS trainers on your staff, please double check with them and make sure that they've seen that webinar. There's some PowerPoint slides that need to be attached if they do train at the end of a training. They're all in the PD portal under training materials, which is available to anyone who went through the training of trainers that we had last year. So if you have any questions, just please let me know. And I appreciate your help with this. We just want to get the word out. It's just really important that these trainers contact CASAS and go through this process. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy. And so now we're going to take a little pit stop. Check to see what kind of questions you may have. We've shared lots of information thus far. So if you have questions about CASAS or TALI or the webinars or any of the information shared by any of the other presenters, please let us know. We don't want you to go away with half information or misunderstanding. So let us know. Put those questions in the chat pod, and then we're going to go ahead in the meantime hear from our next presenter, which is Katie. Katie?
Hi, everyone. Last month I mentioned that we were cleaning up some of the older Tech and Tells in the PD portal. Since then, we've continued to list the updates in the PD Coordinators Community of Practice. So if you haven't looked there, I would go ahead and check it out. Several had to be deactivated due to technical issues, dated material, things like that. So please know that we tried to do our best at communicating with those who had any of the courses on their transcript and gave them about 2 weeks or so to complete any of the training before it was deactivated. Also, just remember that we are publishing new Tech and Tells monthly, so I just want to keep you updated on that. All right. This month we have 2 Tech and Tells, 1 Teacher Tuesday, 2 Workforce Wednesdays that are all ready for viewing. So these courses include Tech and Tell Crowded Learning Part 1 and Part 2, Teacher Tuesday MSGs for Students Part 1 only. Part 2 that happened just Tuesday this week will be ready to go more than likely at the end of January. And then we have Workforce Wednesday, Student Success Initiatives to Increase Persistence and Preparation and Employability Skills. So those are ready for you to view. We will have more courses published in early January, and we will share those in our next PD Coordinators webinar.
No. And but Katie, you have the next slide.
Okay. Our last Learn It Live for 2019 will be coming up here on December 17th at 12 o'clock noon. Please join us and ask all of your PD Portal questions before we all head out for the holidays. We really encourage you to bring any questions, concerns, anything that you want us to try to help and go over with you to this session. We had a fantastic turnout earlier this week, and we hope that this next one on the 17th will be just as good. January dates were actually just added yesterday, so check those out in the events calendar. And we've already started planning our February dates, which will be in soon as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Katie. And so now we're going back to Laura.
Hi again, everyone. We wanted to go ahead and advertise our upcoming holiday hours. So the entire TCall office will be closed for the winter holidays starting on January 23rd. That's a Monday. December 23rd, still a Monday, but we will close on December 23rd, and we will reopen on Thursday the 2nd. We will not be monitoring email or phone in any capacity during this time. Hopefully your teachers are also taking a little bit of a break from the work that they focus on so hard every day and spending time with their family. But in the event that folks are working on professional development out there in the field and trying to reach out for help, we will not be here to help. When we return to the office on the 2nd, we will respond to messages and voicemails and emails that have been received at that time. And then just kind of looking ahead, on the calendar, we have also put that the office will be closed on January 20th. Again, most of your offices will probably also be closed as well, but that's another upcoming date where we will not be monitoring any email or phone lines to provide assistance for the PD portal or for anything at all. It's not just the PD portal. TCall as a whole will be closed on those days. That's all I've got. Oh, nope, that's not all I've got. Sorry. So one more. This is mine. So PD Portal 2020. So we do have some stuff coming up in 2020. We're going to start rolling this stuff out in about mid-January and then continuing to build upon it as the year goes on. So 2 new things that are on our radar already, and go ahead and put it on your radar, be watching for more information, is Reporting 2.0. So over time, this is going to replace custom reporting, which we are currently using and you guys currently do have access to. And then also we are going to be rolling out a new carousel on Learner Home. So currently what you guys have, or what everybody has, is a carousel that's titled My Transcript. We are going to be rolling one out that's called Suggested for You, and that's going to be pulling information from the courses that participants have taken, and then the things that they've identified in the My Subjects section of their Learner homepage, and it's going to make recommendations. So it's kind of like, this is where we really get into that kind of Netflix feel, where they're taking they're taking the history of the participant and they're making recommendations and suggestions based on that. So we're really excited about these new initiatives. And please keep an eye out. There will be more information coming probably mid to late January.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laura. And so now, last but not least, we do have Krista.
Okay. Again, this is just PD coordinator time. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we've just gone over or about their position? Just in general questions about PD, anything that you would like to ask?
Like, I could tell they want to ask.
They want to ask, yes. I'm doing the teacher countdown, the ABC song, before you jump in and answer for them. If not, please
I have
remember
a question. I have a question that they might be thinking. So when Tracy was mentioning about those conferences that are not sponsored by TCAL or TWC or TALE, where can we find that conference session sheet?
The conference session sheet. That's a very good question. I know all the PD specialists have a copy of it, so
Be in
they
the
can
PD
always
portal?
email their always email their PD specialist.
I think
But
it's
is
in
it
the PD
somewhere
I
else?
think
coordinator
it's in the,
community of practice.
I do. It's in the community of practice
Yeah.
for PD coordinators.
coordinators.
Yes.
Perfect.
And so, and since you asked the question, sorry, Krista,
Oh.
it's just like we can't attach people, so any new PD coordinators, but we do put any national events that are online, or if you sent someone to a conference in Rhode Island, then you would compile the sessions they went to on that sheet with descriptions and send them to us. And then once we get them entered, you can attach staff to them. We're just entering the event. And we appreciate you letting us do that, because otherwise there's a lot of entries that could be in there if PD coordinators, not y'all, but the data entry staff, so you may need to communicate with them a little bit, because otherwise we end up with all these entries in there and people don't know which one to pick as the official entry, say, for the national. There's that Career Transition Network, and I think it's Rhode Island or something, every November. So, we do things like that. So thank you. Good
National
question.
Career Transition
Yes,
Network
thank
Conference.
you. I had that all wrong.
That's okay.
And there's another question related along the same topic. So Tracy, don't go far. This one's from Giselle. She says, that does the same apply for online trainings that are outside of TCAL?
Yes, it does. Uh-huh. And so, again, just filling out the sheet as completely as you can. What Beth and I try to do, we enter those in as we try to go find the entity that offered that session to make sure we get the correct title. So as completely and correctly as y'all can fill those out, it helps. Because if others attended or took those online courses, we want to have everything correct so it's easy to find. Yes, good question.
Wonderful. Okay, and then we have Thelma. Your hand is raised, so would you like to post your question in the chat pod, or maybe perhaps I could unmute you. Maybe that would be easier. Here. And then just want to encourage others that if you have questions, please let us know. See, one person has a question, and then others say, well, okay. So let's see, Thelma, I'm trying to unmute Emery.
She said that she doesn't have a question, that she forgot to take her hand down.
Thank you, Krista. I was trying to unmute and it didn't get unmute. I didn't unmute. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I have a question. This is Deb. What I'd like to know is how many of you have actually accessed the PD coordinator community of practice. If you have, raise your hand. There might be some folks that aren't familiar with that community of practice that we're talking about all these resources.
Good question.
So if you have accessed the PD coordinator community of practice, go ahead and raise your hand, because we might need to do a little demo of how they can find that.
Interesting.
And it'll be Anne-Marie or Liz who will see that. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, go ahead, Liz.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Did you want me to share my screen? Or is this for another time, Deb?
Well, yeah, we've got time, so I'd like you to share your screen now. And then Tracy, is it you or Krista are the ones that post the most stuff in there? Is that correct? Maybe one of you could walk them through where some of those resources are located.
Yeah, well, okay. I have to be honest here. I've been looking in there and I don't see that conference sheet. It's hidden, so this is a good conversation we need to put. So I lied. I just thought it was.
No, that's okay. The conference. Okay, so.
Okay, so what's your question, Deb? Do you want?
So let's go in.
Okay.
Somebody, Liz, can you share your screen?
Yes.
Happy
Krista.
holidays, Debbie.
Okay. Let's see.
The
I don't.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Sorry.
It's okay.
It has like a little delay. But yes, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It's buffering.
Of course.
Anne Marie, would you be? Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay, so let me share my screen. And
Okay, can you go into the portal?
yes, ma'am. So let me go into the portal, and the easiest way is to go to tcall.tamu.edu, and I like to just show this and click on the PD portal. You're going to click on Login to the PD portal in the middle, and mine is already preset. So you enter your username and your password. And hi Santa. So we're going to close this guy. And then on the upper left-hand side, you have the blue banner where it says Connect Communities. You're going to select all communities. And you can either scroll for the PD coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the second one. And here we are. It's in the PD coordinators. And that's what we've been talking about. So let's say you were unable to participate in the PD coordinator webinar last month. This is where you'd be able to find the previous webinars and any other topics related to your position.
Show them that they can click on, scroll up a little bit, Liz, please.
Mm-hmm.
And there's those tabs. It says Main Topics and Members. Click on Topics. And Wayne found it as well. Since it's Teams is the conference stuff, scroll down to the topic on Teams.
Yes.
And that's where you'll find the conference spreadsheet.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was not looking under that tab.
It's okay.
Okay, so under Teams and Conferences.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I think you had, if you'll scroll down, I think there was an updated version. Oh, that is the updated version. No, so go back one page. I think Tracy posted an updated version.
Okay.
Let's take one more look. Yeah. And see where Tracy has updated request for conference. Now, let's look at the dates here. We'll have to, Tracy, maybe you can, oh, Laura's saying it's the same one. Okay. We just don't want to confuse folks. So there's the spreadsheet for you to do the conference sessions or any online PD. And if you get a certificate, you know that we have a whole how do I video on how to upload a certificate into your transcript, so you can use your PD portal transcript as all in one place to count that PD. You just have to make sure that anything outside of a TCall or any Texas event is approved by your program director or PD coordinator, whoever has that ability. So yeah, if you just wanted to go back to topics, I just wanted to make sure that they knew where it was. And because we do add stuff to there from time to time, lots of different folders.
How do I?
Mm-hmm.
Deb, while we're in here, I have a comment. Let's go ahead and clarify, because Ashley Winkle is asking in the chat pod. I'm not sure if I have access to that. So some communities are open, some are not. So they contact Laura and Katie to be added, correct? If they don't have access to the PD coordinators community of practice.
Correct. Generally, yeah, and it just may have fallen through the cracks. Generally, our procedure is when we get an updated notice of a new PD coordinator, we add it to the community of practice. But it may have fallen through, Ashley. Oh, good. Ashley does have access. Okay.
Yay.
All of you that are on the call, if you're a PD coordinator, please check to make sure you have access. And if not, let Katie or Laura know at that pdportal@tamu.edu email. Okay, that's all I wanted to add.
Wonderful. It's always nice to explore. So this is a wonderful resource. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen unless anyone else has questions about the PD portal, but I could easily
Thank
go
you,
back.
Liz and Deb, for the questions. And these are the kinds of questions that we're talking about. Things that, you know, you just think about and go, I wonder where, or I wonder how. And and if you're wondering that, then there's probably other people wondering. So please keep this in mind that this is your time on this webinar, and please let me know if you have questions or topics that you would like us as your PD specialist and trained PD team to cover for you.
Yes. And so on that note, if we don't have any other questions, for this one I am going to pause. I am going to wait to see that someone has a question. Anything that we've discussed before, or maybe something that we didn't talk about. Something related to teams or something to the PD portal, your position, the PD plan, let us know. All the PD specialists are pretty much on the call today. So, and typically when one person has a question, there's about 10 other people that have the same question. So don't see anything here. So I would like to thank everyone for joining us on the call today, for participating. And I also want to wish everyone a happy holidays. Have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. And we just hope that you spend the time that you deserve, rest, have some fun, create new memories, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. So from all of us at TCAL and Train PD, we wish you happy holidays. Thank you so much for participating today. Take care. And thank you, Anna Marie, for assisting, and well, actually all the team, because you were all on the presentation. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Liz. I will go ahead and we'll just keep the room open here for just a couple more minutes to see if there's any other questions that have come in, and then I'll let everybody know when I'm going to officially close the door, as I like to say. So we'll just hold on here for another minute or two. Sound good, Liz, before we officially shut the door, as I like to say?
Nice job, ladies.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Deb. Thanks for all the help. That was good.
Yep. See ya.
I feel like every time someone says Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, I have to say you too, you too, you too. So.
Yes.
Oh okay, everybody. I think we're winding down. We're winding down here, and people are rolling off. So, as I like to say to the presenters, Liz, take us out, and I will shut the door. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much once again. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.